Token Metrics is a cryptocurrency investment platform that helps users leverage machine learning to become better crypto investors. Our in-depth analysis helps eliminate the emotions of investing, find profitable investment opportunities, and filters out scams. Learn more at tokenmetrics.com.
We are live. This is the market update. I'm your host, Bill Noble. Which market update? The one you can trust on YouTube. This show is brought to you by tokenmetrics.com. If you need a roadmap in crypto, subscribe to this channel. Turn on alerts so you know when we're going live. And if the content helps you, please hit the like button. Okay, let's welcome who's on the stream. We got a lot for you today. Crypto Lion from Arkansas, welcome. Ali, Ross, hi. Right? Best part of the day. Jojo, thank you. Right? Algeria is here. Right? Let's go. Oxford, England, Holland, right? Kentucky. All our friends from Chicago, Dana in Jersey, welcome. South Carolina, Wen Green, October. Romania is here. Australia, Calgary, right? Kingbelly, welcome. Austin, Texas, down the street from me. All right. How does it feel to be an important person in crypto? Well, with importance comes great responsibility. So as you know, I take it seriously. I take seriously helping you. There are bigger guys out there, but, you know, I'm keeping you out of the way of the biggest poo storm since 1929. Switzerland, Burbank, London, right? Oklahoma, K-Town, right? Everybody is here for your market update. All right, we're going to do this in a couple stages, because we got a lot of news flow, so we're going to do a lot of news. Okay. MicroStrategy scoops up another 480 Bitcoin, spending $10 million. They now hold about 130K Bitcoin at an average price of 30K. So what does this tell you? We'll go into the on-chain data later. Long-term hodlers sold to sailor. Now, normally when there's capitulation, weak hands sell to strong hands. My argument is that strong hands, long-term hodlers, sold to sailor, who, even though we like him, is a weak hand. Okay, because he may have leverage on his balance sheet. Okay, British Virgin Islands court orders 3 Arrows Capital to liquidate. The order came on the same day that Voyager Digital issues a notice of default to 3 Arrows Capital for its failure to pay 15,000 Bitcoin and a $350 million USDC loan. 3 Arrows Capital failed to meet margin calls from its lenders, right? Including from BlockFi, where Bitcoin was borrowed. So wait a minute, let me get this straight. Voyager's got a problem. 3 Arrows got a problem. BlockFi's got a problem. Oh, and wait, venture capital firm estimated at $400 million in liquidations has a problem. Okay, so what do we know? We know who's got a problem, but what we don't know is how big are these positions that have to be liquidated? Where are these positions that have to be liquidated? Who's going to get wrecked if these positions get liquidated at horrendously low prices? Uncertainty is toxicity. This was the lesson of 2008. We saw it coming, but what we couldn't see was where the positions were going to get liquidated. And we couldn't see that eventually everyone was going to sell equities as a way to protect themselves. So everybody may wake up one day and go, oh my God, I have to sell Bitcoin and ETH as a hedge. And who knows, the bad positions could be in Bitcoin and ETH. Crypto miners face margin calls defaults in a bear market. Private and publicly listed crypto miners racked up 2 to 4 billion in debt to finance the construction facilities in North America. Wait, did miners FOMO in and borrow too much money? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Now, miners can still make ends meet, okay, with Bitcoin below 10K. True, but as soon as you start pressing the cost of production, that's when things came unglued in 2018. Okay, Marathon Digital, which is a heavily levered firm, okay, their cost of production is about 6K, according to news articles that we've referenced in prior streams. So the miner story is a long-term story. It's simple. In 2018, the bear market did not end until miner cost of production got attacked. So whether that's 10 or whether that's 6, by the time Rectember and Rocktober are over, that's probably what you're going to see. Okay? So Core Scientific and Marathon Digital are the most highly leveraged miners based on debt to capital ratios. So again, you know, even if their cost of production doesn't get attacked, right, the firms can still experience credit downgrades and distress, right, the more violent the price action is on the downside. Investment firm Cypherpunk Holdings sells all of its Bitcoin and Ether. The publicly listed firm transitioned to cash. Good for them, right? Get to the chopper. They sold 205 ETH and 214 Bitcoin, right? And they have 14 million in cash and stable coins. And hopefully they're in the right stable coins, if there is any such thing as the right stable coin. More on that in a minute. Okay. Bitcoin Improvement Proposal 324 can improve privacy by hiding node locations and other private data. You mean there's a Bitcoin privacy proposal after Edward Snowden went off on Bitcoin developers at consensus for not having a privacy feature? You know, if they can't put a privacy feature into Bitcoin, then Bitcoin has to be repriced. No one is going to do a transaction in the metaverse and have somebody be able to trace back and see how much money you've got in your wallet. Privacy is not for pirates anymore. So if you don't have privacy, okay, no problem. But the value of your cryptocurrency is going to be lower. Lower. That's all. It's like a markdown at a department store. All right. So let's check the next round of news, because we have multiple ways of doing the news here to keep you as informed as possible. All right. So I'm switching screens. I'm moving stuff around. Now we have market update part 2, which is the news. Now, this is about Michael Saylor. This is a tweet from me. Okay, so the SEC document says Saylor bought Bitcoin, right? So how come Bitcoin's not up? Like, don't you remember the days when Michael Saylor would buy Bitcoin and it would be like, Bitcoin would just be gone. Then you'd find out later it was Saylor who did the buying. Michael Saylor bought Bitcoin and people were like lining up to be like, oh, Mike, are you buying Bitcoin? So, you know, maybe people are afraid to be short, right? They transferred Bitcoin from one person to another. Okay. But short sellers are like, ooh, I can't be short at 20. And we've heard this before, right? Ooh, I can't be short at 30. Ooh, I can't be short at 40. Okay. The longer people go, ooh, I can't be short, the more they feed the bear, the more violent it's going to be, because I think people psychologically will have more, it'll be easier to short it at 18 than it is at 20. So when people are afraid to be short, That's when you should be short in these advanced crashes or bear markets, not investment advice. Now, Roger Ver, who I thought was like a mega billionaire, founder of Bitcoin Cash, right? Also claimed to be the founder of Bitcoin. Who knows? But he's a huge player in the crypto market. He owns CoinFlex, $47 million in USDC. And he has been in default of this agreement. And CoinFlex has served him a notice of default. So you're like, wait a minute. You mean Roger Ver can't pay his debts, which puts CoinFlex in trouble? And have you lost count of how many people are issuing default notices and no one's getting paid? Like, it's kind of a list, right? Celsius, Voyager, CoinFlex, Three Arrows Capital. I don't know. Did I miss any? Oh, yeah, Roger Ver. Who else? Right? How many people does it take before people come to the regrettable decision that this is like 1929, that the whole ecosystem is insolvent and all the collateral is going to have to be liquidated? So it's not personal. It's not that I don't like crypto. I love crypto. I work for a crypto company. But the simple fact of the matter is everybody borrowed a bunch of money and did all kinds of leverage things to do things like pay people interest, to speculate, to trade. You know, people took risk and it's all gone bad, which was the story of 1929. And in 1929, when they had to liquidate the system, right, it rocked the entire country. Now, in this case, it probably won't rock, the world if crypto vaporizes or crypto prices have to be marked down, right? Marked down. All this news is connected to price and what price action is going to be like. So we'll go into that more later, but here's what I suspect. You'll have massive waves of liquidation and shocking downside price action. Like, you'll wake up and stuff will be down 30%. Okay, then the liquidation will stop and there'll be a 20% bounce. And then it'll go down 40% from there. So the speed of these moves are going to be incredible going forward. And again, the news flow just shows more and more people need to liquidate. And liquidate what? Well, we're going to find out. We're going to find out. Oh, wait, a tweet goes, Circle's USDC scheme is allegedly on the brink of collapse. If you read their SPAC IPO filings, it's clear they have been losing money constantly, but there's something dirtier happening underneath, according to @CryptoInsider23. They're at major risk of defaulting on USDC reserves, and he proceeds to do a deep dive thread. Okay, now, can I validate whether that's correct or not? No. But if there's a problem with USDC, there could also be a problem with Tether. Okay, and if you start a liquidation event in crypto, right? Like right now, people are like, "Ooh, well, I'm getting out of crypto and I'm moving into stable coins, and that means I'm safe." Okay. And every time somebody says, "Oh, I'm safe," yeah, hide under the desk. Forget about it. Seriously. There is no safe in an event like this. There isn't. So if the ecosystem goes through a shock, it's going to shock everything. The crypto banks, the collateral inside the DeFi protocols. The protocols like Aave will still be there, but what will be the value of the governance tokens? Yikes, right? And then, of course, there's people who think they're safe in stable coins, and they may not be. Crypto hedge fund Three Arrows Capital plunges into liquidation. Okay, now, I know we did this already, but I'll do it again. Okay? All it takes is one player who's too big to fail. Three Arrows Capital is so big, it's too big to fail. Now, in Legacy, when you had AIG, the insurance company that was too big to fail, the Fed stepped in and people stepped in and bailed them out. There is no bailout for something like Three Arrows Capital. Now, currently, what's going on is FTX, right, is battling Morgan Creek to see who can buy BlockFi. Now, here's how this is working. FTX is like, you have bills you can't pay. People are trying to get their money out, but you don't have it. So it's like a run on the bank. So FTX is like, okay, well, here's what we'll do. We'll pay everybody who needs to get paid, and you can sell us the company for zero. So if you have a $250 million problem, no problem. We'll take care of the $250 million. You just sign the keys over to us, and your equity is wiped out, and we own it now. And people who invested in BlockFi are like, holy cow, are you serious? And now Morgan Creek is trying to go out and raise money to try to bail out BlockFi. And this, I swear to God, I look at this and I go, this is just like 2008. I mean, the Fed basically made JP Morgan absorb Bear Stearns, right? Like everyone was like, oh, thank God, right? Bank of America absorbed Merrill Lynch. Same process, right? You come on over, we buy this, we buy all the stock at $1, okay? And then that's that. That's it, right? Your assets, your building, your traders, your capital, all that stuff we take down. Now, again, that doesn't mean the toxic assets, the bad positions go away. It just means the ownership of the company changes hands. So this looks like a bailout, but is it? Because how do we know what kind of positions BlockFi has? How bad are the positions? Like, of course, the owners of BlockFi don't want to get wiped out. Of course they don't, right? But again, where are the bad positions? And if FTX is like, oh, well, we'll take the firm we'll help you, but you got to sell us the firm for zero. That sounds pretty bad to me. So while we don't want anything to happen to fellow crypto people at BlockFi, you really got to start asking yourself, I got to look at this headline. I got to read beyond the headline. Where are the bad positions? Okay. Now, naturally, as you get bad news, there will undoubtedly be, just like 1929, the everything is all right tour. So Digital Asset News says Celsius Network Recovery Plan interview with, XYZ person will be live on Thursday. So, Celsius Network seems to have a recovery plan tour. Yeah, they have a recovery plan as long as Bitcoin doesn't go below 14K, which is their liquidation point. So, of course, Celsius is going to try to save their company. I'm not saying that's a bad. But what I'm saying is, if you look at the 2008 example and you think for a second that there's no Fed in crypto, there's no Fed. So these guys got to figure out how to bail themselves out. And let's just say we don't know how bad everybody's bad positions are. That's probably why the market's not down yet, because we don't know how bad it is. Now, when you do know how bad it is, you'll just wake up and everything will be down 30%. Okay. Now, because the crypto universe just cannot control itself, Luna Classic got a little moonshot this morning because it's going to be the currency of a metaverse, which is not the worst idea in the world. Okay. So Luna Classic was up. All right. Now, it just hit Token Metrics' site today, but I actually made a joke, and this is definitely not investment advice. I made a joke that Luna, okay, when it crashed, became Luna Inu because the price, it looked like Shiba Inu, right? It was a fraction of a penny. Well, somebody actually came out with an idea and said, let's issue Luna Inu for real, some sort of fork of SHIB. Now, this is not investment advice, but this did go up and it actually registered on Token Metrics. So Token Metrics' website is now tracking Luna Inu. Now, what's the point here? Well, everyone chased Luna Classic and everyone chased the stablecoin associated with that. I think I have a chart. We can do a live update. But wouldn't it be funny if the first trade is the wrong trade, right? That when there are breaks in the down market, it'd be really funny if some silly meme coin did better than the thing that everyone is chasing, trying to get their money back from Luna. Again, not investment advice. Meme coins can go to zero. Okay. But the moral of the story is every time you get these speculative hype hope trades, the market goes down. It goes down. Okay. Speaking of going down, just as a reminder, this is the check on the Celsius Vault and their liquidation price as 13,600. And credit goes to somebody internally at Token Metrics. He did a little Elliott wave work. And we want to thank Steven because his target from his wave work is around 13K. Okay. All right. So that's the news. And now let's jump in to your market update to see how the news applies to price. How does the news apply to price? And how are we going to manage this volatility? So we're calling this trading news flow. Okay, here's Luna Classic in the metaverse. Okay, here was Luna Classic when I did the deck. 0.00015 was a key resistance level. So you can make an argument that the move has been made. Okay, the same thing with USTC, which is like the new UST. So USTC is to Luna Classic as UST was to Luna. So they ramped this up to 8 cents and they had fun with it. And there's resistance there. And I don't think it's the right trade. Not investment advice. Okay, here's why I don't think it's the right trade. Does anybody remember ApeCoin? Does anybody remember like, oh my God, I've got to pay 20 for ApeCoin because I've got to get involved in their metaverse, or, you know, I've got to buy land and, you know, I've got to get involved in this massive FOMO trade. Okay, that was April 28th when ApeCoin made the top. ETH was at 3K and Bitcoin was at 39K. And guess what happened after that? Wipeout. Beware of, oh, I got to buy this coin for metaverse hype because there's somebody up there going, ooh, 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 I'm selling to you. Thank you for bidding it up. Now, speaking of I'm selling to you, let's talk about on-chain data and long-term hodlers. Normally, long-term hodlers, right, when Bitcoin moons, they sell. They take profits as it goes up. And then when Bitcoin crashes, they add. Okay? So if you look at the whole history of Bitcoin, like 2012, like the last 10 years, long-term hodlers normally behave like this, right? Guys who bought Bitcoin for $1, sell it when it goes to 100, and then it comes back down, etc. Now, there is one instance that I found where long-term hodlers sold massively into a down or a sideways market. So it's not the only example, but it's close to only, right? Because in 2014, long-term hodlers unloaded on Bitcoin around 336. Okay. And they unloaded on it for like a month. And then as soon as they stopped, right, Bitcoin, this black line, Bitcoin went from a peak of 336 to 172. So long-term hodlers just sold to Sailor. So who's smarter? The long-term hodlers or the guy who runs a computer company who's made a gigantic bet in Bitcoin? Now, long-term, he probably has a good point, but, you know, timing is everything. And the long-term hodlers may be saying, you know what? I'm not sticking around for this. I'll buy it back at 6K. Because, you know, there is a precedent for Bitcoin just going down 50%. I mean, it happened in 2018. I presented at a conference in Vegas. My foot hit the floor. I went back to my hotel room and Bitcoin was down 10%. 4 weeks later, it was at 3. It went from 6 to 3 in like 5 weeks. So can Bitcoin go from 20 to 14? Sure. Could it do it in July? I don't know. You know, could it lurch to 14 and then come screaming back and then go back down? Maybe. Right? Expect massively violent price action. And again, This doesn't say anything about Rectember. So when long-term hodlers get out, okay, there's a problem. That's the point. Okay. Now, for oil, okay, oil is going up again. Oil broke out above 119. The reason? There's no liquidity in oil. So when people need to buy, when they expect a geopolitical disturbance, like it's been kind of a joke, like I've been talking about Putin mailing the United States a July 4th birthday present. Yeah, don't doubt it. Don't doubt it. Oil above 119 leads to 131. Based on our statistical analysis, higher oil means lower Bitcoin, not investment advice. Tesla, okay? Tesla below 703. Now, something very interesting about long-term hodlers puking out to Michael Saylor. Haven't heard anything about Elon Musk's Bitcoin. I still got it, or maybe he doesn't. Either way, I think it's a disaster. Like, if he hasn't sold, then he's probably going to wind up having to puke it, right? Because he's laying people off because of business conditions. So if oil's at 120 and Tesla's laying people off, what does that tell you? So if he's dumped his Bitcoin, then a major celebrity has lost confidence in Bitcoin. And if he hasn't dumped Bitcoin, well, he's just another guy that's going to wind up selling below 14. You know, and the way to track that is Tesla stock. Like if there's one, it's like, okay, Bill, I can't follow everything. Maybe I can look at the Bitcoin chart and the ETH chart, but what's the comprehensive indicator? It could be Tesla. Tesla around 700. What it does there could tell you a lot. Tesla could go up or Tesla could go to 450. All right. Now, Coinbase. All right. So beating up on Coinbase is getting a little old. I don't want to do too much of it. Now, what I do want to mention is, yeah, if it's below 54, it can go to 25. You know, no, right? But I want to bring this up in a context of liquidity risk, right? Will you be able to buy and sell if there are shocks, right? Like if ETH goes from 1,100 to 850 in a day, will you be able to buy and sell as you need to? You better have a good answer to that, because if you can't, right, if people can't buy and sell, that's what triggers panic. In 1929, the people that ran the exchanges and matched up buyers and sellers by hand worked to the point of collapse, right? They worked around the clock. Now, what's the equivalent in crypto? Well, it's simple. The systems break. Sorry, come back later, error message. Okay, so for ETH, you had 1208, right? So ETH was up there. This is the quant AI-based support levels from tokenmetrics.com. So 1208 was a quant resistance point. So our customers knew to get out at 1200, and 1050 is support. So 1050 might hold first time down, but what happens if it doesn't? The next points are at 894 and 793. So there is nobody home in ETH below 1050. Okay, Bitcoin, it's a little bit of an easier roadmap. Again, this is from tokenmetrics.com. You can get this for any coin that you like. Okay, 19,390. Okay, so nobody wants to be short below 20K. 15,889 is next. So it's basically 19, 16, 14, and 11. Right? And, you know, the best case scenario in my mind is 11 in September. The worst case scenario is worse than that. Okay? But the levels are right now are 19, 16, 14, and 11. Back to ETH. So yesterday we discussed kind of a quirky Fibonacci circle analysis where, you know, ETH went up and failed around, ta-da, our AI-based support point at 1208. Okay, so we had Fibonacci work and our customers had the AI work in tandem. Okay, Now we have another Fib circle analysis, another Fib circle point at 1100. I've also got a Gann point at 1125. So think about it. 1100 is resistance. Gann work shows that ETH should not get back above 1125, really. I mean, if this is really going to go and dump, ETH should really never spend any material time back above 1125. So we'll see. But we also know that there's support at 1050. So if it never gets above 1125 and then it cracks 1050, then it's just going to go, right? You're going to have 30% down. It's as simple as that, right? Now, people are going to say, ooh, well, God, you really want me to be short? You know, is it really bearish ETH at 1100? I don't want to be short there. I'm too scared to be short. Uh-oh. Ruh-roh. Be careful of I'm too scared to be short. The best trades are the toughest trades. Now, I'm not advocating getting short. I normally don't do that. It's not investment advice, but here's the point. The point is, if you have not adjusted your position, you got 3 days to do it. You may have less than that based on this news flow and these charts. The only thing that's going to save the market maybe is a slowdown because crypto big players are going to start squaring up their books for the holiday if they can. All right. So you got 2 days. Now you might be saying, all right, my $15,000 crypto portfolio is now worth $1,500. I'm not getting out. Okay. Well, if everything is at zero and there's a whole bunch of NFT and metaverse coins or Zcash trades at 10, that $1,500 buys a lot. So these ETH charts are telling you, and so is this chart, that it's not too late to make adjustments. Like total crypto market cap minus Bitcoin and Ethereum, that's total 3. Okay. Total 3 on TradingView has got resistance at 387 billion. So this is going to be driven by your avalanches, your Solanas. Okay. And the downside target of this could be 85 billion. So between April 20th and today, that's 70 bars. Okay. So it took 70 days for altcoin market cap to go down, uptick, dead cat bounce, and then break down again. That took 70 days. Now, if you think that maybe markets like Symmetry, and it could take 70 days for the down move to complete itself, it would be 70 days from today would be September 9th, and that could be a low of 85 billion, which means a complete disappearing act in all your big cap, layer ones, all the big coins that people really like disappear. Now, am I telling you this because I don't like crypto? Of course not. I work for a crypto company. What I am showing you is, hey, if the market goes down, right, if it's July, August, September, and possibly October, how low can this thing go? And what kind of buying opportunities? And I think it's the metaverse. I'm telling everybody right now. So right now, my buy list in my head is Zcash and the metaverse. So when I look at this chart, I go, wow, that's upsetting. And then I go, wait a minute. No, it's not. Because I got a generational opportunity to get into privacy, metaverse, and NFTs. So GTFO now, so you can FOMO in later when it looks like the world is ending. Okay, Avalanche. Resistance is at 1860. The alligator moving average is starting to open up, which means the avalanche trend, downtrend appears to be resuming. Okay, Chainlink has resistance at 1640. I'm sorry, 640. Okay, on Avalanche, on token metrics, there's no support until 1440. So I'm giving you that one for free. Again, tokenmetrics.com for AI support, resistance, and downside targets for the coin that you like. DeFi Perp, okay? Bowling ball out of a window. So let's just recap. Centralized lenders, bad positions. liquidations imminent. Hedge funds, liquidations imminent. Defaults, widely reported. Okay. So all the collateral in both decentralized, in CeFi and DeFi could get liquidated. Now, if everybody gets liquidated in CeFi, the firms go away or get absorbed for zero. In the DeFi world, Aave is not going anywhere, neither is Uniswap, right? But the collateral inside the protocols could get liquidated, especially if there's like, say, a DPEG between staked ETH and Ethereum, right? There's that whole thing where you deposit your Ethereum and they give you like a receipt for it, which then people turned around and borrowed against, right? I call it monopoly ETH. So the protocols will be okay, but the collateral inside the protocols is, where is it? Is it okay? Or is it going to get liquidated along with everything else? Nothing personal. So if that happens, what's the value of a governance token of a DeFi protocol? Even though the protocol is fine, it's probably going to be around for a long time. The governance token is not stock. It's just a governance token. So DeFi Perp futures contract bounced off 2,000, went to 3,000, and the downside target is unspeakable. And the Williams oscillator is getting close to zero. So again, you know, when everybody goes home on the weekends, we know how this is, right? They did it on Father's Day. They did it to us, right? I'm trying to be with my daughter. I'm in Houston. I'm like, okay, we're going to have a good time. I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, oh my God. Trying to call people, scramble. July 4th in the United States, Independence Day. Independence from your crypto portfolio? I doubt it. I doubt it. Right? They always do this on holidays. You know, you're going to wake up, you're at the beach. Oh, look, it's down 30%. Okay, spurious relationships. Us technical analysts love them. Okay. Coinbase's stock in July of last year was at 210. That was the lowest for July last year. Coinbase stock currently at 51, down 76%. ETH in July of last year was at 1706. Okay, and if ETH matched Coinbase and it was down 76%, ETH should be at 970. So ETH at 1100, expensive? Not if Coinbase's stock continues to go down. Marathon Digital, a leveraged Bitcoin miner. It was at 20 last year. It's now below 6, down 71%. Bitcoin last year was at 29K. So if Marathon and Bitcoin are in lockstep, theoretically, that puts Bitcoin at 17. Makes sense, right? I mean, once people are not afraid to be short at 20, boom. And that is the market update. All right. Now let's see. Let's see what we got going on here. Okay. Baltimore, Scotland, Leeds, England are here. Okay. Somebody says, why stop with the red shirt? Get a red jumpsuit. All right. My body's not exactly jumpsuit conducive, but, you know, we can't stick with the notorious shirt. We have a bunch. I have a bunch. Okay. Boris is going back to Burger King. Let's hope not. Right. Somebody hit the like button. We wish you would too. Okay. When will they control, alt, delete this crypto cycle? Okay. Interesting, right? The cycle will end when everyone is liquidated at the end of October. That's it, right? Everyone just gets liquidated, and most likely it'll be the investment banks and BlackRock standing there hoovering up all the capitulation, Saylor, Musk, Celsius, everybody. All of that crypto is going to go in diamond hands, and 10 years later, you'll be like, wow, I was in the greatest crash ever. I wish I had money to buy. I want the people who listen to this stream. You know, there are guys that have like 300,000 Twitter followers, and, you know, hats off to them. You know, maybe I'll get there one day. But in the meantime, whoever's listening to me, I want to make sure they're out. Because if they're out, I can get them back in, right? Who do you want to listen to at the bottom? The guy who helped you get out at the top. That's who you want to listen to. Token Metrics is working on gaming, metaverse, NFTs. We are working on what's next. And man, we are going to roll that out in force. Okay? Cash is king, someone's saying. Can we check Luna 2? Someone is shorting ApeCoin. Okay? Okay, so somebody is asking a very interesting question. Vanilla 420 is asking, is Solana a good investment for the next bull cycle? Okay, maybe, probably, but at what price, right? Is it a good buy at 40 or 30 when venture capitalists are sitting on a 10x? They bought it at 30 cents. Like, Solana may be a great investment long-term, but Chainlink was a good investment long-term, and so was Cardano and Synthetics. Guess where they went in 2017? Basically zero. They went so low, the people that had them lost the wallets that they kept them in. I know somebody who did that. It's like, oh, yeah, I have Cardano somewhere. I can't find it. That's how low it went. So I'm not trying to be ugly. I'm just trying to say you have to use your imagination. You know, Solana went to 220. You used your imagination on the upside. Now you have to use your imagination on the downside. Okay. Okay. So Sailor said his liquidation is at 3,500. Okay. Well, I mean, 3,500 is a GAN number. And, you know, once there's blood in the water, the sharks circle. You know, I've talked about Bitcoin at 3K. I don't advertise it because no one wants to hear that. And even if they did, no one believes it. I have a hard enough time talking about Bitcoin at 10K. Markets like this end when everybody is out. Everybody. I mean, somebody can fact check me here. In 2008, the stock market wiped out 10 years of gains in like 6 months. 10 years of gains in 6 months. So we can't do that in Bitcoin? We can't wipe out everything we did since 2018. Really? Huh? It can't possibly happen. Wait, this time is different. The 4 most dangerous words in the English language. Now, just a word on MicroStrategy and Salem. Okay, his liquidation price could be 3,500. It could be 350. Okay, what are credit rating agencies going to say about MicroStrategy's bonds? They have bonds. MicroStrategy is not a hedge fund. It's a company. What happens if their debt gets downgraded? Now, if Bitcoin's at 6K and his liquidation point is 3K, let me ask you something. If you want to buy software, are you going to buy it from MicroStrategy? Well, you might now, but will you later? So there are risks, right, to MicroStrategy that are just, you know, they're important to understand for Bitcoin, right? Like his liquidation point might be 350. But if his Bitcoin position in any way impacts MicroStrategy in a way we can't understand yet, right? Because there is theory that if people are afraid something's going to happen to a company, they kind of like, they stop doing business with it. Now, hopefully that doesn't happen because there's a giant building full of people that work at MicroStrategy, and we wish them well. But when you're trading and investing in crypto, you don't want to say in a market like this that such and such can't happen. Like, I hope Michael Saylor is okay. I want him to be okay. I took a picture with the guy at Bitcoin Miami. So, of course, I want him to be okay. But I'm an analyst, and I have to be realistic, right? And this is a repeat of 1929. Nobody got out of that unscathed. Okay. All right. Somebody loves it if Bitcoin goes to 9K. Okay. I'm glad you have a downside target in mind. That's good. Okay. However, be advised, what will the world look like with Bitcoin at 9K? Okay. You have to think about this, right? Like, in a world where big players get liquidated, it's a scary, scary thought. Now, we've got the ETH chart here. Okay. It looks like it's counting down to 13. So you could be looking at 5 more down days in ETH, at least. Okay. Similar situation, but worse in Bitcoin on the daily chart. So 1 through 9 is the first part of a trend. Okay. And then it can slowly start to count down and go 1 through 13. So I don't know. That's, 7 more down days in Bitcoin potentially, right? Okay. On a 90-minute chart of Bitcoin, you can see these candlesticks indicate a distinct fear of being short. Every time it goes below 20, everyone covers, right? Everyone covers because everyone is afraid to be short. Okay. But what you don't realize is this 0 up here could mean the end of the uptrend and the start of something bigger in Bitcoin on the downside. Okay, let's check a 4-hour chart of ETH. Okay, so there's support at 1072 in ETH on DeMark, 1050 on Token Metrics. Okay, you might be working on a 9 bottom on Bitcoin on the 4-hour chart. What's the point? The point is there could be one last uptick. Like, you got about 2 days and maybe one rally left. Okay. Okay, so somebody is asking, what are your thoughts on Fed policy as it relates to real estate? So let me bring up Solana. Okay. I do think Solana has a legitimate shot at making a new low. Okay. Based on some D-Wave work. Now, to answer the question about the Fed. Okay. So in Solana, it's this simple. This 4 up here means that there's going to be a low. There's going to be a 5-wave low below the 3-wave low of 25. So the 3-wave stops at 25. The 4-wave goes up to 44. And then the 5-wave ends below the 3-wave low, which means a low below 25. Check tokenmetrics.com for the AI-based support where that decline could stop. Now, let's talk about the Fed, and let's put up a Stonks chart while I talk about the Fed. So there are a lot of economic numbers coming out. I think there's still a labor shortage. The fact that stocks went down a little bit doesn't mean that the Fed is going to take its foot off the gas. Consumer sentiment is in the toilet. Of course it is, right? Of course it is, right? Gas prices are high and people are worried. This is the stock market. It looks like that was a corrective A up, meaning, it's like beware the failed rally. So everyone is under the impression that Jerome Powell is going to be like, oh, okay, Fed funds around 2%, 2.5%. Okay, that's enough. Inflation's at 8.5%, but I don't want anybody in legacy to be upset. People, Jerome Powell wants equities and housing to crash. He would prefer it not to be disorderly, but I think deep in his heart, he knows, because I know, and so do you, that the only way to stop 8% inflation, the only way to stop rich people from bidding up the price of everything is to just crash it all. Just crash it. Right? Now, of course, the Fed's not going to talk like that. But remember, Jerome Powell went to see Joe Biden in his office, right? To hold Joe's hand and said, Joe, in order to stop inflation, we're going to have to wreck everything. to protect the common man. It's almost a national security problem, right? If you have a hyperinflation event, it's a national security problem. So what do you think the US government cares more about? National security or stocks? National security and the well-being of its citizens, or real estate? The primary job of government is to protect the people. So on a crypto show, no one's ever going to say anything positive about government, and governments are inept in so many ways, as we know. But just remember, the primary job of government is to protect the people. And Jerome Powell and the men in black and the guys that go to work every day, like I used to walk by the New York Fed. I mean, it's like a fortress. You know, guys who go to work in that building, they're serving their country. Jerome Powell serves his country. And his country has got 8% inflation. So I have absolutely no idea why Jerome Powell is going to back off unless inflation goes to 3% overnight. And we know that's not going to happen. So if real estate is rolling over, everyone's like, oh, real estate's rolling over. The Fed has to stop. No, it doesn't. And poor crypto is caught in that. Somebody says the primary job of government is to protect the people. And the last president's version of that was a little interesting. Okay. It's not a political show, but you know, if you're in the government, your job is to protect the people. And if you're not protecting the people, then you're asking for trouble. Okay. Killer Gorilla says, when does Elon sell Bitcoin? Okay. Somebody's like, Bill, check out the mortgage-backed security market. Okay. Let me see if I can bring that up. I know there's a mortgage-backed security ETF. Let me see if I got lucky. Oh, maybe. Okay. Here's a mortgage-backed security ETF. Okay. Not sure if it's the exact one. Okay. The one I think people should be looking at is HYG. This is high yield debt. Okay. So I guess you could call HYG the altcoins of the bond market. Meaning, you know, if you don't have a lot of money, you know, you issue a junk bond. So during the apocalypse of 2000, or during the COVID apocalypse, this is where junk bonds were. And junk bonds seem, I don't know, they seem kind of close. Let's see where they are. I don't know. They're 5% away from where they were back in COVID. And oh, look, here's 2008, right? The end of the world for junk bonds, COVID, and gee, how many red months do we have here for HYG? But why am I showing you this? Well, because there's something out there, and it ain't no man. You think this insolvency problem is crypto specific? Oh my goodness, think again. Think again, right? Junk bonds, you know, European energy stocks, European energy companies dealing with supply disruptions from Russia, right? These places, their job is they buy natural gas low and they sell high. Well, now they're buying high and selling low. So how's that going to work out? How's it going to work out for the European Central Bank while we're on this topic? I mean, nobody's talking about this, that, you know, interest rates in Europe, you know, for the month, they're off today, but this is the German 2-year note, right? It started at negative 1% and now it's positive 1.5. So rates are now falling, most likely because stocks are in trouble. Like if crypto is in trouble, stocks are in trouble. Okay. Let's take a few more questions. Okay. So Helium was really positive on token metrics. Check to see what's going on in Helium. Okay. So Helium's still on a buy. The token metrics grade peaked but came off. Right. Let's try to get some regular TA up. Okay. So again, you know, Helium's looking good, but then like everything else that looks good.
Sharing the wrong screen.
I'm sharing the wrong screen. All right. Okay. So can you see Helium now? Okay. So there's Helium. Okay. So the token metrics grade went to buy. So it looked okay. But, you know, like everything else, you know, it may be okay, but it's got to hold support first. So I guess the good news is there's support in Helium around where it is right now. And what I can tell you about this is it's not a bull market unless you can buy a dip and make money. So in Helium, if you can buy the dip and make money, it's okay. Because it's good on token metrics, but is this market any good? That's the question, right? Mark says the government is the privileged class. Oh, I missed the comment. Okay, something about the government is the privileged class that kind of looks down on the rest of us. Okay, Alif says if stable coins aren't safe, where do we park funds? Okay, well, not investment advice, but hopefully in an FDIC insured bank. Okay. Okay. If it comes to that, under your mattress, but you got to make sure you can get liquidity. So I'm not here to endorse or trash any stable coin. I've stayed away from that. What I'm saying is if there's a shock to the system, junk bonds, stocks, crypto, lenders, right? You don't know what that does to the ecosystem and the things that people think they're safe in, they may not be. So Mark says the government is the privileged class that spits on the rest of us. Okay. It's hard to argue. Okay. Bill, can you please explain the only reason for a price rise, speculation or hodler demand, says Sherrod. Okay. So this is a great question. What can make the market go up? Well, here's what can make the market go up. A payroll number in the beginning of July that's terrible. So if payrolls are supposed to be positive and they're negative and everyone is getting laid off, then, you know, the legacy markets may actually say the Fed's got to back off. Or if wages inside the employment number show that wage growth is falling out of bed, that means the Fed has to back off. So anything that makes the Fed back off is bullish for crypto and risk assets, which is why I'm telling you that if there's forced liquidation, so you may go forced liquidation, oh, wait, the Fed's going to back off. Oh, wait, they're not, right? Because there's employment. There's the grayscale SEC decision on whether GBTC can become an ETF. That could be enormously bullish. Like if the SEC goes, you know, we think grayscale, we're going to go with a spot Bitcoin ETF. Oh my God. Like that's Bitcoin 25K overnight. If that happens. Okay. And that's why, you know, if you're a short seller and you make 20% on the way down in July, you better take it. If there's going to be a vertical drop, I think that's going to be more of a late August, September phenomenon. Okay. So California is sending money for stimulus. Yes, fascinating. Okay, fascinating. Inflation is first and foremost a monetary phenomenon, So the answer to too much money in the system is more money. The primary job of government is to protect the people, not print money. Any good metaverse plays, we're working on it. We're working on it. Okay. Somebody's asking if you're in FDIC insured in an exchange. Is that good? I don't know. I would call the exchange and find out if you are FDIC insured. The issue of crypto exchanges isn't, are you FDIC insured? You might be, but the question is, what happens if that exchange doesn't work, right? Like if you can't get the money out, or they tell you it's 3 weeks before you can withdraw funds, right? That's the issue. It's liquidity. So it's diversification in all the places where you hold funds. Okay, VLX, very patient person asking for that on request. Okay, so let's draw something on the VLX chart. Okay. So you could be encouraged in VLX. I'm not sharing. You could be encouraged in VLX if it holds 0.044. Okay, if it doesn't hold 0.044, you got problems. And honestly, the whole market looks like this. The whole market looks like, even if you're watching this like 2 or 3 days later, the question is, what did ETH do at 1100? What did Bitcoin do at 20? You know, no one wants to be short there. No problem. The longer they're afraid to be short, the worse it is when it turns. And I didn't share. Sorry. Okay. So this is VLX, right? Here's 0.044, right? And it's just like ETH at 1100. You know, the question is it going to be able to get back above 1125, right? Right now, everyone's afraid to be short. So maybe we get 1 or 2 quiet days, and then you have to adjust your position. Now, somebody says, I'm scaring everybody. You know what? I'm not trying to scare anybody. Okay. What I want to do is I want to be the guy that gets you in at the bottom, right? Because I got you out at the top. Because I got you out at the top, right? And the definition of the top keeps changing. Okay, so this is Fantom. So this is Fantom on an 8-hour chart, right? Now, we have work on our Quant AI thing, on our Quant AI, that shows if Fantom is below 22 cents, there's no support until 2 cents. On the hidden pivot work, it's if there's no support below 26 cents, it could go to 12 cents. That's on the 8-hour chart. Let's see if I can bring up the TA functionality on token metrics. So I go to the max setting to get the most price action possible. Okay. And there's Fantom down at the bottom, right? You know, might be a pricing, might be a data error here, but below 22 cents, there really isn't anybody home. Might have to have our technical guys look into that. But on the other quant thing that we did, you know, and on hidden pivot, there's not a lot of support on the downside in some of these issues. So if this market tries to uptick today, you know, it's like last chance position adjusting. So let's go over a summary. There's a lot of news flow that indicates that there are multiple insolvent entities. Everyone is trying to figure out how they can bail themselves out, but there's no Fed in crypto. So there's all these headlines. No one knows what it means. And that's what's toxic. No one knows what all these news headlines mean. Nobody knows how many insolvent positions out there. Michael Saylor buying Bitcoin is good for Michael Saylor. It's good for the crypto space that someone's willing to step up. But my question is this. If he bought a bunch of Bitcoin at 20 and long-term hodlers sold it to him, what's the next move for Bitcoin? It's a stalemate at 20. Shorts could come in, and as soon as people aren't afraid to be short, it can go lower. Now, again, if there's a catalyst, Michael Saylor saves the day. Okay? I would err on the side of caution. Now, if you're watching this video later, my vacation starts tomorrow. I'm going to be doing recorded market updates. Okay? It's important for you to remember, right? If this thing moves in 30% increments, right? Get out if you can, adjust your position. If you're a short seller and you get 30% all of a sudden, I think you take the money because there can be these violent bounces, particularly after July 7th. Like July 3rd to July 7th could be vertical. And then later in July, you may get these bounces. So I'll be back after July 5th. We'll be doing recorded market updates as best I can. Okay. Whatever you do, don't get wrecked. Don't get wrecked because, again, I want to be the guy that gets you out at the top and in at the bottom. Token Metrics is going to get its customers in at the bottom. They are. And I want you to come with us. So this is Bill Noble signing off. We'll see you soon.